Donald Trump all set for his second inauguration as U.S. president, promising a brand new day. TikTok restoring services to its 170 million American users. Hello and welcome to TVB News. I'm Melissa Hekalea. Donald Trump, who overcame impeachments, criminal indictments, and a pair of assassination attempts to win another term in the White House, will be sworn in as the 47th U.S. president in a few hours. Trump held one last victory rally in Washington, D.C. on the eve of his second inauguration, nearly filling the 20,000-seat arena after a full day of events. He vowed to make good on his campaign promises from day one and is expected to sign a torrent of executive actions that are expected to include border security issues. Tracy Furness has more.
Where at least I know I'm free.
U.S. President-elect Donald Trump used one last rally on the eve of his inauguration to again celebrate his election victory.
Tomorrow at noon, the curtain closes on 4 long years of American decline, and we begin a brand new day of American strength and prosperity, dignity and pride. Bringing it all back. Once and for all, we're going to end the reign of a failed and corrupt political establishment in Washington, a failed administration. We're not going to take it anymore.
Celebrations started Saturday night with Trump marking his return to power with a fireworks display at his Trump National Golf Club in Sterling, Virginia, about 30 kilometers outside Washington. Trump and his running mate, J.D. Vance, also participated in a wreath-laying ceremony at Arlington National Cemetery before paying their respects with Gold Star families, immediate family members of those who served and died for the country. Tech billionaires Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos were among the star-studded guests at Trump's pre-inauguration dinner in Washington on Sunday, where he promised to give his supporters the best first day, the biggest first week, and the most extraordinary first 100 days of any presidency in American history.
Within hours of taking office, I will sign dozens of executive orders, close to 100 to be exact, many of which I will be describing in my address tomorrow. We will not waste a single moment in delivering on our promises to the people.
The orders are expected to cover border security, mass deportations, rolling back government diversity initiatives, pardoning many defendants accused or convicted of crimes related to the January 6, 2021 Capitol attack, boosting oil and gas production, and replacing thousands of career government bureaucrats. Tracy Furness, TVB News.
Live coverage of the inauguration of Donald Trump by NBC News will be broadcast live on TVB Pearl tonight, starting at 11 p.m. Chinese Vice President Han Zheng, who is in Washington as an envoy for President Xi Jinping at Donald Trump's inauguration, has held meetings with U.S. Vice President-elect J.D. Vance and business leaders. Trump's transition team said Vance and Han talked about various topics, such as fentanyl, balancing trade, and regional stability. In a readout issued by the Foreign Ministry in Beijing, Han underscored the extensive common interests and space of cooperation shared between the two countries, despite some disagreements and frictions. He also met with Elon Musk and other business leaders, including representatives of the U.S.-China Business Council and the U.S. Chamber of Commerce in Washington. Pledging an improved business environment, Han welcomed foreign firms, including Tesla, to expand their investment in China. TikTok is restoring its services to 170 million users in the U.S. after Donald Trump said he would issue an executive order after taking over as president to give the short video app a reprieve. TikTok briefly went dark late Saturday before its ban was due to take effect. More from Danny Joe.
It was a whirlwind weekend for TikTok. It abruptly shut down services in the United States late Saturday as the January 19th deadline of a ban or sale law loomed. But the popular short video app is back online 14 hours later. In its latest statement, the company said it is in the process of restoring service. TikTok credited US President-elect Donald Trump for providing the necessary clarity and assurance to its service providers so that they will face no penalties. Trump on Sunday promised to issue an executive order to delay the deadline of the ban and extend a liability shield to tech companies supporting TikTok. He also proposed a solution of setting up a joint venture that would include a 50% US ownership stake of the app. Trump stressed in a social media post that the proposal aims to reserve TikTok while addressing the national security concerns over its parent company's ties with China. By doing this, we save TikTok, keep it in good hands, he wrote. But TikTok's future is clouded with legal and political challenges. Some scholars pointed out the company's US business partners are taking divergent paths. While companies like Oracle and Akamai have restored service for TikTok, Apple and Google still aren't offering the app for downloads. TikTok has not yet responded to the joint venture solution proposed by Trump. This as Beijing called for market principles to dictate TikTok's fate. A foreign ministry spokesman said TikTok gained wide popularity in the US and it has played a positive role in boosting employment and consumption. She underscored that companies should make independent decisions on matters of business operations and acquisitions based on market principles. Danny Zhou, TVB News.
The ceasefire in Gaza is holding on day 2. 90 Palestinian prisoners were released as 3 female hostages held by Hamas went back to Israel. The first phase of the agreement completed peacefully. Displaced residents are returning to parts of Gaza that were cut off during the conflict. David Garrett reports.
Coming back to Khan Yunis, refugees returning home, displaced many times during the 15-month war, back to shattered homes to rebuild broken lives. Gaza is mostly rubble following the Israeli military invasion. There's no smoke or fire today, though. The ceasefire has held for more than 24 hours, with some of the hostages and prisoners freed. Blaring car horns, cheering chaotic crowds, Palestinians back in the West Bank, having been released by Israel. The IDF warned Palestinians against public celebration. The request was ignored. People shouted, "God is great," as the first phase of the precarious period of peace begins. 90 prisoners, women and minors, set free, the first of 2,000 that should be released in the first part of the ceasefire agreement. Fireworks celebrated their return, the only explosions in Gaza on this.
We must also remember the brave soldiers who risked their lives and those who paid the ultimate price to ensure that this moment of the hostages coming back home was possible.
With the guns silent, more aid is able to finally pour into Gaza. Hundreds of trucks with supplies came in from Egypt.
There is big challenges ahead of us. Roads will need to be cleared, shelters need to be set up, and supplies need to flow in. We hope that this will all be possible in the coming weeks, as well as the returns of hundreds of thousands of people.
US President Joe Biden got his deal done in his last major act as leader. Biden says Gazans have suffered enormously because of Hamas, adding the Trump administration must be persistent to keep peace. David Garrett, TVB News.
An exploding gas cylinder caused a fire that ripped through a tented village at the most attended Hindu festival in India's north. No one was hurt. Around 20 tents were destroyed. Aerial shots show the massive blaze taking hold. The Mahakumbh festival is touted as the world's largest religious gathering and is held every 6 and 12 years based on the revolution of Jupiter. The tented village is needed to accommodate 70 to 80 million each weekend, with up to 400 million expected during the 6-week festival. The aftermath showed a scorched area as security removed debris. Still ahead, 2 cleaning companies fined more than $22 million for price fixing in obtaining a work contract from the Housing Authority. Invest Hong Kong says it's assisted over 500 overseas and mainland companies in setting up or expanding their businesses in the city last year. And a look at Switzerland's chocolate business. Welcome back. Two cleaning companies were fined more than $22 million by the Competition Commission after they engaged in price fixing and obtained a $180 million contract from the Housing Authority. 3 members of the company's boards have been stripped of their titles for 24 months. Timothy Lee has the story.
The incident took place in 2017 when staff of an outsourced cleaning contractor of Hoi Lai Estate in Chengsha Wan said their company demanded that they voluntarily sign resignation letters. They were then hired by a separate cleaning company and subsequently lost their severance pays and long service payments. The cleaning staff asked the Housing Authority to look into whether their labor rights had been infringed and check for possible connections between the former and current employers. Several of the cleaning staff also complained to the Competition Commission, accusing the 2 cleaning companies of price fixing when trying to obtain a cleaning service contract. The commission filed a lawsuit against the 2 companies and 3 board members in 2021, saying that they engaged in price fixing after they traded confidential commercial information in 17 tendered documents between 2016 and 2018. The total amount of money involved reached $180 million. A board member of the initial cleaning company accepted legal responsibility on January 30th last year and was subject to a fine of $11.3 million. He was stripped of his board member status for 24 months. 2 board members of the second cleaning company, who also accepted legal responsibility, had to pay a combined fee of over $10.9 million. Both were also stripped of their board member status for 2 years. The case marks the first incident involving 2 public cleaning companies, with the process taking 7 years to conclude. Timothy Lee, TVB News.
The ceremonial opening of the legal year 2025 was held at City Hall this afternoon. Chief Justice of the Court of Final Appeal Andrew Chung inspected a ceremonial guard mounted by the Hong Kong Police Force at Edinburgh Place. In his opening remarks, Chung said, with the implementation of the National Security Law and the Safeguarding National Security Ordinance, there have been a number of high-profile and politically sensitive cases. He stressed that the courts will always adhere to the fundamental principles, including the presumption of innocence and the right to a fair trial.
It is one thing to disagree with a legal provision or a court decision in applying it, but entirely another to suggest that the justice system has been undermined by political expectations or societal atmosphere. Courts are not arbiters of public opinion, nor are they an extension of the prosecution authority. To focus solely on high-profile cases concerning national security or public order, and to draw sweeping conclusions about the state of the rule of law or judicial independence in Hong Kong from such a narrow perspective is to misunderstand the full scope of the judiciary's role and work.
The Hong Kong Observatory has forecast the weather will turn significantly colder next week, with minimum temperatures of about 11 degrees on January 28th, the day before the Lunar New Year. It was generally sunny and dry earlier today. A cold front is expected to cross the southern coast of China on Sunday, followed by a strong winter monsoon that will lead to a significant drop in temperature. It will be cold next Monday and Tuesday with a low temperature of 11 degrees. It's expected to reach 13 degrees on Lunar New Year's Day. The police will implement road closure measures in the Mongkok Flower Market area starting today until the first day of the Lunar New Year. The police began setting up barriers at around 7 a.m. today. At 8 a.m., Flower Market Road, Yuen Ngai Street, and Yuen Po Street were closed to vehicles. Many residents are expected to visit the area to purchase flowers for the Lunar New Year. And the police will enforce crowd control measures based on the number of visitors. Authorities have urged the public to be patient, following police instructions, and enter the area in an orderly manner. Invest Hong Kong, the department responsible for attracting foreign investment, announced that it assisted 539 overseas and mainland companies to set up or expand their businesses in Hong Kong last year, which is 41% more than in 2023. The office expressed optimism that American companies will continue to be attracted to the city after Donald Trump begins his second term in office. Samantha Lee reports.
Invest Hong Kong shared their work effort made in 2024. Last year, the investment promotion agency said they facilitated the setup of 539 foreign companies in the city, while bringing $67.7 billion of investment and creating some 6,800 job opportunities. Half of the new enterprises came from the mainland, followed by the US, France, the UK, and Singapore. Many of them viewed Hong Kong as a springboard for their entry into the mainland market. Some also showed interest in the Northern Metropolis Development Plan. The top sector among the assisted companies were innovation and technology, while those engaged in fintech and family offices were also included. The office noted that despite the uncertainties in global economy this year, they would continue to encourage companies settled in Hong Kong to broaden their investment. They also expressed confidence in Hong Kong's appeal as a financial center for American firms.
Mr. Donald Trump will be inaugurated later today, Hong Kong time. Now, of course, there are still uncertainties about the overall global geopolitical situation, and it remains to be seen what would the new administration's directions would be. But as could be clearly seen in the numbers of 2024, the U.S. companies have always been a very major source of investment when it comes to Hong Kong, because in the end, American companies are very pragmatic as well as very practical, and the growth is in Asia and in mainland China and the greater Asia as a whole.
Alpha Lau also said her office will continue to explore markets in places along the Belt and Road to assist local companies in expanding their regional operations via Hong Kong. Samantha Lee, TVB News.
Swiss chocolatiers have set up shop in Hong Kong as the city is seen to have high potential in the chocolate sector. World-renowned for its quality, Swiss chocolate has record sales exceeding $10 billion annually and comes with a well-developed supply chain. Timothy Lee tells us more.
With the name well known among Hong Kong residents, this chocolate company has established a museum in Zurich aimed at telling visitors its origins. Several museums like this exist across the Alpine country and is a source of pride for local residents.
I like it. It's a good aroma.
But it's not just all talk, as the Swiss's love for the confectionery has set world records. With a population of just around 9 million, the average person in Switzerland consumes some 12 kilograms of chocolate annually.
We grow up with chocolate. Also because the milk chocolate is outstanding. We invented this in the 1900s. The Swiss people were also pioneers in making milk chocolate and chocolate in general. We invented a lot of machineries to make quality chocolate.
Born in Hong Kong and raised in Switzerland, Raphael's father started a chocolate factory in the former, which influenced his son to join the chocolatier profession. According to a Swiss Chocolate Association, sales of the confectionery in 2023 reached 1.9 billion Swiss francs, or around 16 billion Hong Kong dollars, with exports having accounted for 60%. For those interested in the culinary craft, Raphael noted master courses are available in this country.
So we have apprenticeships after high school, culinary schools here in Hong Kong as well. I just see the problem is in another way. Everybody wants to work these days in a fancy office, with a corner office, or wants to work on the computer, has an easy life, and nobody wants to work with their hands anymore.
Interest in the chocolate sector has been on a steady rise in Asia. Christy, a chocolate taster in Hong Kong, said she doesn't think Asia lags behind the West in their knowledge of chocolate. She added that the city could consider developing the study of chocolate into an independent scientific field, which could foster economic potential and a new generation of talent. Timothy Lee, TVB News.
That's the news. Thanks for watching. Pearl Magazine is up shortly. See you then.